All right, welcome guys. Welcome to the ultimate Riki guide. My plan with this is to pretty much just be an all-in-one, every skill level, any MMR. Hopefully there'll be something you can find in here, or maybe just a piece of information. So it's not going to be strictly a Riki guide. It is, but it's also going to be about it, just general game sense things. So I feel like even if you don't play the hero or you never plan to, there should be something of value in here that might make you think. I'm also not running on a script, as I really can't be fucked, to be honest. But I also feel like I have an idea of what I want to talk about, and it should be completely fine. I'm 6'2", 130 kilos, lean build, so you should take everything I say at face value, and also it's all genuine and correct, so I don't want you to doubt me anyway. What I'm gonna say is pretty controversial and I guess opinionated, but I think it's right. I think it's factual, and I'm gonna back up and prove to you why. Well, let's get started. Riki. Mid lane exclusively I'm talking about here for most of this guide. Other roles, it works in off lane, it works in safe lane. I think off lane's way stronger than safe lane Riki. I think safe lane Riki, since the whole tricks of the trade change, with it not scaling as hard now, really kind of gutted that whole late game, I'm just going to press A, kill you all. You still can, it's just harder now. And he really just doesn't get what he needs to in the mid lane, in the safe lane compared to the mid lane. All right, well, it's sleeper. That's all I'm going to tell you. It's a lane bully, a lane dominator against certain matchups. I would say it's the hardest counter a puck in lane. If you don't kill the puck as the Riki, you're doing something wrong, unless he gets a fast bottle. When I say anything about this, about kills in lane, if any hero gets a fast bottle or a first blood, it becomes nigh impossible to get the kill. So you're playing to kill them before they get the bottle. So once they get that regen, you can't really do what I'm about to tell you. All right, Riki. Yeah, it bullies people. It's a scary hero. A lot of people don't respect it, and that's why it's strong. And right now, with the innate of backstab being at level 1, it allows you for a lot of creative plays and a lot more damage that you wouldn't have had before. I played Riki mid for about 2 years now, maybe 3, and over time I've become a lot more aggressive, a lot more less farm orientated, and I've really kind of worked out, I feel, the winning formula for playing Riki from mid insanely reliably, very steady. I've gone up to 8k MMR just playing with it casually. I'm not too ultra sweaty, I just enjoy it. I pick it into anything, so yeah, I have a bit of knowledge. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. All right, starting off with Riki spells. Firstly, we have Smoke. This is a very great offensive and defensive tool. You can always use it to panic TP. If you do it and you panic TP, a lot of people will start hitting you before they realize, what the fuck is this Riki doing? And by the time they move out to try and stop that smoke, you'll get out. So if you ever are in a situation where your last resort is to TP out, always smoke before. You'll get out way more times than you wouldn't without it. It's just something really get into a good habit of, especially if you're farming creep waves. If you're going to go up to a creep wave that's risky on the map somewhere, always smoke and farm it, especially if there's axes, LCs, you know, heroes like that like to go for isolated targets. It's also really good for using, like, pushing high ground. So if you have a Medusa, chuck a smoke on them. Like, that forces people to, like, have to BKB if they want to do something and commit and start the fight. It's just good at all stages, especially for fights. It's a spell that, as you get lower in HP, it starts off as very aggressively used, and as you drop down and lower, you become more of a support, a more of an executioner role, and Smoke really plays in that. Chuck it out, make sure it's always out on the fight somewhere. Smoke your teammate if he's fighting someone one-on-one. Just do anything, because the miss rate affects allies as well, so they get the full benefits of being in the smoke. Now talking about Riki's Shard. Riki's Shard makes Smokescreen insanely oppressive. It makes heroes that have a save, like Abba, Oracle, Dazzle, or anything that's a targeted item like Force Staff and Lotus, absolutely unusable. It completely ruins those heroes and makes them borderline unplayable for the cheap purchase of 1400 gold. So if you ever see one of those heroes, I recommend getting it actually really early. If you don't get it on that first Tormentor, or even getting it before you even have that Tormentor available to you, because it really shuts down these heroes. It makes them, forces them into the fight. For a lot of heroes, they just die before they even get there, especially early on. And also on top of that, it reduces armor, and it's actually really solid. 5 is a lot, especially when you're hitting someone, because this makes the shard, the shard makes the smoke pretty much, we can all in whoever we want inside there if you have a save. And if he doesn't respect that and pop a BKB or anything, he's dead in it. And if he gets stunned and caught out in it, he's dead. There's nothing to back them up. So that's why it's really, really strong. Probably one of the strongest shards in the game. Definitely very sleeper. Not many people know about it. I feel like a lot of people still don't understand, like, especially even higher MMRs, they're getting angry at their Oracle for not ulting, and they're typing it in all chat. And I'm just there like, that poor guy, he's really copping it, and it's because of me. It's a great feeling. It's an absolutely great feeling. For Riki's second ability, we have Blink. Blink's an amazing engage and disengage tool. It allows you to go in, blink out. And obviously, you can bait people with this. You can play a lot of mind games with Blink. You can also outposition and outmaneuver, which is really strong, especially if it's talent at 20, which reduces the cooldown. You become a monster, and you also have really decent synergy with Kanda, which is one of my main builds to go for, just for the insane burst. But besides that, it's also Riki's most important thing to learn, is how to utilize them and utilize them well. And for that, I recommend, if you're a beginner or you're newer to Riki, you just keep this in mind. What I like to call it is, it's the 1-1 rule. And that means you blink in, use 1 blink to always to get in, and then you always save 1 blink to get out. Now that doesn't mean you can't double blink, but you're going to learn how to use it. And when you know it's obviously a free kill, you're going to double blink. And when you're not, you're going to do the 1-1 rule. It's something I always try to keep in mind when I go into a fight that isn't looking too good. Or maybe it's, I don't have enough information yet to full hard commit. I'll always keep 1 in reserve, and I'll always use it to reposition out of the fight, or maybe bait someone, or etc. Riki's third and final ability, we have Tricks of the Trade. Tricks of the Trade has shifted a bit in the last few patches, mainly in 7.37. It went from an ultra late game scaling ability to a very strong earlier on ability. So pretty much the break even for when it was stronger before its change, where it scaled with agility on your items, it's pretty much the max scaling now for the current tricks is at a Diffusal and Manta level of the old tricks. So past a Diffusal and Manta, the old tricks would then obviously scale higher, but now it maxes out at that ratio about. So that means that Tricks is a lot stronger now earlier on. It's still strong late game, but it doesn't have the insane killing potential it did before. All that means though is that we've changed, and that allows us to do a lot more with it earlier on. We can also skill it first, where that would not have been a thing before, and it allows us to actually get kills in lane now. Because before we kind of were just a right clicker, we didn't have our backstab innate, we weren't able to use Tricks aggressively. If anything, it was doing like 20 damage a hit. Now it does like 60, so it's really, really decent early on at level 1. So yeah, it's pretty much just completely shifted Riki's game style from this ultra late game hero, which he still can be, to a more like mid-tempo. You get those main items and you run people down. That's kind of why my shift towards Ags, that a lot of people don't really understand, is that people always ask, why didn't you go Ags this game? Ags just really isn't that good. It's more of a farming tool, more of a harass tool, a mobility tool. Like sure, it's really good and it does a lot of damage in some team fights, but generally it's not going to min-max your damage. You're going to miss out on a lot of kills if you always rush Ags when it's like one of those hard games that like you need more damage, that a Kanda could give, that a Manta could give. Ags just really isn't that. All right, for the last little bit, I want to show you some Riki tech. This is really important to learn. I think it's one of the most mandatory things. It's always got an application, whether you need to burst someone down, just get that last bit of hit in, or to stop people from running away and killing them in the smoke. Why I say it's really crucial, it's going to pop up a lot. Also, at about like the 11-12 minute mark, when you get your diffusal, supports seem to, if you just right click, they seem to just get out of the smoke generally, before you can kill them, right? And for a lot of support heroes, they can actually create the distance or stop you entirely, which we don't want at all. So what I'm going to show you what you can do. So pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to come up, you're going to right click them, you're going to cast E, and you're either going to right click again if you have it that, you know, right click cancels channeling, or you're going to press S and you're going to cancel the tricks and then right click them again. So it's something like this. So you'll come in, you'll just hit, they're getting out of the smoke. So what you're going to do on the next hit, you're going to E, cancel, and then attack again. And as you can see, it kind of has like this double attack. And I know it might not seem big on paper, but it's 200 damage or even less, right? If you have tricks level 1 at level 7, it's going to be like 150. It's such a big deal. That extra little hit can allow you to get kills that you wouldn't have been able to get before, especially if you're doing the 1-1 rule. There'll be times where you blink in, you start hitting, you do this tricks tech, and then you instantly blink out. And if you didn't do that tricks tech, they get away. There's going to be a lot of situations. All right, now we're on to the Riki facets. All right, there's two. Both are viable in the long term, I guess. But one I'm got my eyes on, one I've been playing, and it's completely grown on me, and I think it's the best way to play Riki. If you want a consistent game style that day in, day out, every time you queue, you know what it's going to do. Exterminate is that. It's going to allow you to catch up. It's going to allow you to accelerate. It's going to allow you to play the map more. It's just a generally good one. Hard counters, visage summons. Any hero with summons is unplayable into the Exterminator facet. Whereas Contract Killer, it's very all in. So if you don't get kills or something, it's going to be miserable. And the main thing why I think Exterminator is way better, even though people are playing Contract Killer a lot, is that it gives you a massive hit of copium. Because if you're having a terrible game and I look down, well, let's say I'm having a terrible game and I look down and I see Contract Killer, man, I'm like, yeah, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up here. But if I have Exterminator, I'm like, okay, I'm having a bad game, but if I get this agged roughly soon and I go play the other side of the map, go cut some waves near their ancient, I can get back in this. With Contract Killer, there's none of that, and the risk versus reward is just not worth it. Where Exterminator is going to allow you to also pressure mid lane more, because if there's a range creep, it's going to instantly one-shot it and then hit all 3 attacks on the other hero, whereas Contract Killer will not do that. So any hits on that range is wasted. And you'll notice that if you do end up playing Riki mid and you do end up adopting the very aggro approach I have, how much that can play into it against some matchups. So yeah, that's just my quick 2 thoughts on it. But Exterminator, 95% of the game, I very, very rarely, if not ever, swap the Contract Killer unless I just damn well know there's like a whole team of squishies, and yeah, I'm going for it, because the talents just, they're good, but like Riki's not a hero that solely needs experience to really like kind of, beef up and do something. For this next part of the guide, I really just want to give you some food for thought for how you can potentially play a really hard lane. In this game, I was versing MK, which just really isn't a lane I can stay on. He just hits you, obviously, gets his Jingu stacks up, and then you're bullied out. So pretty much what I did this game was I maxed E, and I kind of just accepted the fact I'm going to miss creeps on lane. It is what it is. I'd rather get something done. So pretty much from this state, I just kind of play the map, pick up the runes, just do the control, and I kind of accept that I'm not going to be overly rotating to help other lanes. Well, also I made the judgment that they didn't do too poorly, and if they are doing poorly, this can be a little bit grief, but it also just means I'm going to get a really good diffusal timing, even in honestly an unlaneable lane. So as you can see, it's not too slow. You just hit here and there, and you go back to the lane when it's like you're able to do so. So here I'll run back to lane. The lane's about to be pushed in. I'm probably going to save tricks here and tricks it, I'm guessing. Yeah, I do. See what you can get. Got 4 or 3. That's really nice. Just going to keep going back to farming. You're going to notice if I speed this up here, just following my path, doing the same thing, just going back and forth, just aiming on cooldown, getting the creep waves when I can, just accepting that it's a hard lane. But look at this, I'm going to take a last hit lead. I'm also getting a really good diffusal timing here, and it's just going to set me up for a really powerful opener early on. You can see I'm looking for possible fights to take. If you're going to take anything, you want to take a really easy kill. There just wasn't any on the map at the time, so I did not choose to TP. It's okay if they die once or twice, because your game at the end of the day is a lot more important than everyone else's, especially if you're playing Riki. It's very hard to play from behind, so do not hard grief yourself if it's not going to be, you know, the best option if they don't have an active hero. If your pos one's an active hero, then maybe you can go save him, but if it's playing like a Medusa or some, you know, animate, you know, some hero that solely relies on you to make space and have a good game, probably don't rotate and get yourself killed to potentially save theirs. Always let them suffer before you suffer is my rule. It's a little bit, I guess, egoist, but it's also not. You got to realize that if their timings are a lot later than yours, let them have the bad game. They're going to catch up anyway in AFK in the jungle. Don't delay your game. That also helps their game. All right, for this next game here, I kind of have what you would consider a standard Riki lane. It's decent. I end up getting a kill on this guy, but I'll show you what you can do when you're playing off a decent lane. We'll just speed it up slightly. You can see I'm just hitting. I'm just trying to trade with him whenever I can, wherever I think it's favorable. It's something you're going to have to learn to judge for yourself. I don't have a good wave there. Actually missed two, but deny one, I guess. He misplays there, get a deny. Not too bad. Think I deny. Also, don't be afraid to use Blink to secure range creeps. That's one of its main uses. If you're going to go in a super heavy aggro lane, then probably don't. Against an ES, I would consider it semi-hard to kill him, so I don't usually overcommit my Blinks, and I rather prio the CS. As you can see, I've already traded quite well with him. He's taken a lot of damage. I still have my Blood Grenade, so it's probably going to be a kill from this point, I'm thinking. On the next go, I should be able to do him in. And I'm probably going to Blink here when he takes aggro the creeps. Yep, like that. He's going up for the range, and I just hit him. It's going to be a kill. Very nice. So we'll skip forward. At this point, the lane is mine. I'm going to have an easy 6, and I don't have to worry too much. Alright, now that I'm 6, I'm probably going to either look for kills on side lanes that I think are easy kills. If you personally think the lane's either going very bad, or sorry, there just isn't a really killable lane, don't rotate. Prio the diffusal. You really need to, you'll learn this over time, but you'll learn what you kill, what you can't. In this game, I'm versing Phoenix and Jakiro, I would mainly say. Mars is killable. Medusa, sort of, but not really. They have to be low. As you see, someone's diving in. I'm going to TP to that for sure. Pick up an easy freebie here, as we love. Nothing to accelerate the diffusal timing more than a freebie. You love them. So we pick up a nice one. And as you can see, you know the build. Null Talismans, very out clarities. Riki is an insanely mana-hungry hero, so you need to make sure you get those. Like, don't run out of mana, because if you're out of mana, then you can't make rotations when they're needed. And that's one of the things that's strong about Riki. People don't really know where you are on the map. So it's always strong to be able to be in a position that you can go somewhere and do something, or you can respond to something, because early on, smoke absolutely shuts down a lot of plays that people can make. So always be there with your team, looking around, ready for a TP. We love free kills. We love low-hanging fruit. Remember that. As a Riki player, we love low-hanging fruit. Okay, for this second example of how we play the lane. This is a good start. I have 2 assists, got a little bit more gold. Pop's not full HP, and that's always very nice for a Riki mid, because we're trying to kill them, so them starting at any lower value pretty much just ensures we're going to get a kill here, and I'm pretty sure I do get a kill this game. But let's just see how it goes. So yeah, obviously I'm trading. He's gone Blink level 1, so I know that there's no real threat of him out trading me. Even so, if he didn't, there isn't anyway. Even if he goes Q or E, it doesn't really matter. He's going to die anyway if he misplays. So right here, I'm just trying to focus on getting the creeps. Getting to level 2 is very important. I'm holding it. I'm seeing whether I want to go smoke and tricks here. I decide I'm going to go tricks just to get some more damage on him. As you can see at this point, I'm thinking in my head, yeah, this guy's done. He's dead in 12 seconds. The second that blink is off, I'm going to blink and blood grenade him, and he is going to die, most likely. I'm also sending out a Null Talisman. As I said before, Riki's very mana hungry. It's probably one of the best pickups early now. I never used to do it, but now I swear by at least going one Nails Talisman just alleviates a lot of stuff, especially when you're playing lanes like this. You chew through a lot of mana. The amount of regen isn't that great. I should go on him soon, or I might be trying to wait out that Null Talisman. I think I'm trying to wait it out for the, I want to go up to him, I want to tricks him, and then I want to blink when he blinks, possibly. Or a Q, I'll take smoke here, yeah. Smoke and a mango, I ferried out a mango. If he's smart here and he sees the mango, he should be like, ah, yeah, this guy wants me. Oh, I want him bad, don't worry, we're gagging. Go here, it's gonna be good damage. I'm gonna force out all the bottle charges. Never mind, I'm just gonna kill the guy and he's dead. Yeah, just like that. Well done, me. All right, for the next part of the guide, we have Riki matchups. Now, this is not an all-encompassing list, but it's a lot of what I've versed and I know a bit of information on. So I'm quickly going to run through every single one here, and just quickly, you know, sum up what you can do. So pretty much the first top three, Necro was the only one that I think is maybe beatable here. Bounty Hunter is simply not beatable. If he just maxes his shuriken, he literally just keeps chucking it and chucking it until you die. I don't know how to beat this. It's actually probably one of the only heroes I will beg my team to swap, because I just simply have not found a way of how to trade or how to even sustain in this lane, even with bottle. Slatter's kind of the same, but not as bad. All of these heroes in the very good matchup, they're all pretty much, I would say, if they don't get a bottle or a first blood, sorry, they should die. There's a very good chance you can kill them, maybe minus an Ember or a Quap, but even then, they die pretty freely. If they misplay, which a lot of these people do, even at like 7.5k MMR, they don't respect you. Puck is the easiest matchup of all. Honestly, I would say I kill a Puck probably, like, if they don't get a bottle, nearly 100% of the time. It's a guaranteed kill along with SF. SF is insanely easy to kill. Lean is easy to kill. Invoker's a little bit harder. You bring a Dust, so you kind of lack a little bit of damage. Zeus is kind of sometimes hard to kill just because it depends on how he uses his E, but the rest of these, all very, very easy to kill. You can trade the lot. The next lane, this is one where you either just want to farm. I would consider these a farming lane. You can't really kill them. They can't really kill you. So you just farm and trade it out as long as you're playing smart. And then we have the Despair tier. Now, the Despair tier, that's kind of in order, with Primal Beast being absolutely miserable. Honestly, he could probably go up in here, but I don't get really as bullied out of lane as I do versus those sometimes. Besides Necro, I have killed him. I can beat Necro. It just depends on, you know, what happens in those first few waves. Husker is beatable here. Nugget is not beatable. Slug is not beatable, but like, realistically, you're not going to see many of these. MK is also not beatable. I can get him low, but I just you can never beat him just because of the, you know, the Q with the lifesteal. Arc Warden's kind of like another deal with that. He's just too strong and too oppressive. He just hits you. He just spams Wraiths, and there's nothing you can really do. Snapfire just trades insanely well. If you ever go on her, she's just going to press Shredder, and she's going to shred you. Not very fun. The new hero, Kez, just W spams in the lane. He just lifesteals through everything. Maybe you can beat him. I haven't versed him too much. He's overall just gets destroyed by Riki past the laning phase, so it's not really a big deal. Storm's kind of the same as Kez. You can kill him, but like, he's very oppressive in the lane. He's hard to deal with. He just spams his Q. Storm is all about jumping him when the Qs are on cooldown and getting those little bits of damage and slowly wearing him down. If you do it right, you can kill him just before he gets the bottle, but he's just very hard. Viper is actually a 50-50. The only problem with most of these heroes, as I forget to say, is that if you kill them, it's very, very all in. You have to be very all in about it. There's no room for error. If you misplay, the lane is miserable. Like, you're done. And Viper is one of those. You can kill him level 1, you out-trade him. You can definitely kill him level 2, you out-trade him. The problem is, if he gets you, the lane is done. Like, the lane's going to eventually be done as he gets levels, but if you die, it's over. It's despair. It's a jungle Riki game. Pangolier, I don't know. I don't think I've killed him many times, if at all. Just, you know, W spam. insanely tanky, stuff like that. Lone Druid's kind of the same. You can't really all in him or anything like that. The bear is just too much of a nuisance. But yeah, that pretty much sums up all of these heroes. So pretty much with all these second line heroes, you're just wanting to use your W on cooldown, pull the creep wave. If the creeps ever, like, you pull their creeps to the ranged, and when your creeps go to their ranged and kill that ranged, or he comes up to try and hit his ranged, like you do, like, take your ranged, you jump on him, and that's gonna usually he'll pull the aggro from the creeps plus getting hit by you. It's gonna always be a really good trade, and that's how you kill people. All right, we're up to the final part of the guide. And today's topic is, what items do I go? Well, I'm gonna run it through to you. Well, for starters, we have 3 setups. We have a kill lane, and we can have a kill lane and the trade lane, and then we have the trade lane. These all depend. The kill lane is the max DPS possible for Riki in the mid lane. All of these builds skip tangos. You get the tangos from the bounty runes. Hopefully you get 2. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. It's fine, as long as you don't get absolutely demolished beforehand. But yeah, the top setup is going to be the best for damage. Once you're confident, you should probably always go that. I genuinely don't really start as a trade lane ever nowadays, but that is probably the safest one, or the kill lane and trade the second. But yeah, they're all pretty self-explanatory. Every single build has a blood grenade. I don't care if you're playing Pos 3 Riki, I don't care if you're playing Pos 1, buy a blood grenade. Blood grenade, we all love them. Riki players love blood grenades. They're like a free orb of venom for 50 gold, and they do damage, and they tank us. We love blood grenades. Get that through your head. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. You're lucky I'm not jacked yet, because when I will, I'll beat your fucking head in. Alright, standard. We have the next builds. There's kind of like what it can progress to. Standard, obviously, it's your standard. The hex is probably a little bit different. That's how I like to play it nowadays. I just like to play get in, get out, just do a lot of support help, I guess, in a sense. Play as a core and a support, shut people down. If you see the little city items below, if they're at an angle, that's like what I would consider, I'm just putting it like that, that's like potential items you can pick up, and when you probably should pick them up. Doesn't mean you have to get them. They're just optionals if the game depends on it. The mid-game power, this is kind of like your, maybe a bit more like of a Pos 1 traditional build. It's pretty much, you know, you go your diffuser, you go your ags, and you go your big damage. It's what I'm playing a lot right now. I've kind of stopped away from the standard build of the mana second item, and just always going for ags. Just allows me to hit better timings. I can always come back for those defensive items if I need them. Snowball, this is another one of my main builds. I go for a Kanda second item. I think Kanda's absurdly strong. You can also go for Phylactery first before Diffusal, and then go for Diffusal second if you so wish to. I do it sometimes. It's hard for me to kind of tell you when to do it. It's just something I get the feeling and I just do, so I can't really give you any hard reason as to why, unless I just don't think I can really stick on people and I need to just do instances of damage in and out. That's probably the best justification. But yeah, the Snowball, obviously you can see it also leads into a BKB better, because when you go a Diffusal Manta or a Diffusal Ags, you lack a little bit of damage around that 20-minute mark, in my opinion, when you pick up both these items. And with the Kanda, you kind of have that headroom of damage where you can go the BKB and still not fall behind in kill threat and potential. After that, obviously, you know, you pick up the shard when you need it. Sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's later, sometimes you just don't go it. It's not a mandatory thing. I just put it in there as a good timing for each one when you can think to purchase it if it's a good game. Yeah. For the Snowball also, the Divine, I know it's a little bit controversial, but generally when I'm snowballing, if I want to close a game out real fast and I'm confident I'm not going to die and I'm not going to misplay, I just go straight for a Divine. That plus Kanda early on. Supports cannot react. If they get a Ghost Scepter, it doesn't matter, they're dead. And just a W and E. Yeah. So in the top right, we have the flex, you know, the flex items. Raindrops, obviously, in the lane, good for mana regen, why not? The cloak, casual cloak, that's more of a Nyx thing. So if you're versing a Nyx, he's going to kill you. Nyx has probably like got a really lot of threat on you, and the cloak can alleviate some of that burst, help you live, especially if you're not building any tank items. Sometimes I might get a casual bracer or stuff now, but like now that's nerfed and those starter items, it is what it is, right? Basher, generally only for black hole cancels or really high like channeling spells, but there's not really any besides that black hole that gets my attention. Yeah, purely just for a black hole cancel with Ags, very reliable. Probably one of the best in the game, honestly, because you can cast it from so far back. Yeah, it's just insanely solid. Yeah, you got the Hex, obviously, the Carter, as I said, it's just a damage stimulant. You've got the pretty much the Blightstone is the same as Order Venom. If you want to go Orb of Venom early, if you think you're going to need it, go for it. It's definitely worth it pre-diffusal if you're going to be roaming early, which I do a lot of. So it is a constant pickup. BKB, Riki, he is a BKB hero and he isn't. I feel like if he's played right, you can get away without BKB. You just have so much mobility, so much ways to escape stuff and not hard commit. BKB is kind of like I'm all-inning you type item, but definitely, it's definitely good. The Skadi, it's kind of weak, but like, you know, it's always there. And Blink, I think Blink goes towards the Snowball build, maybe after like BKB, before Rapier. You can go Blink, sometimes I go, it just depends if I really want to get to a backline that's really hiding, or, you know, you're versing some Enigma that's hiding in the trees, or just someone annoying an LC and you want to fuck their day up, we go Blink. Below we have the pre-diffusal, pretty much from the top left, the kill lane, to anything that has a circlet. I will always generally build that into a Null Talisman. The Wraith is optional. You can go for the Wraith if you want, but the Null Talisman is very, very needed. Actually, that's something I've recently discovered. I stopped going, you know, I used to go just heaps of clarities, and now I go Null Talisman, and that seems to alleviate. And at the end of the day, I actually get to keep the Null Talisman for a lot of the game, where the clarities, I didn't get it, and I was easily buying 500 gold plus a clarities a game, an absolute absurd amount. So yeah, the only thing I can take off from the pre-diffusal, if you want to call it a pre-phylactery, the boots instead will be brown boots, because you want to get it as early as possible. And just delaying the phylactery by like several minutes, 2 minutes or so, is just, it really reduces its power as like that. Just, yeah, just a surprising amount of damage at like the 10-11 minute mark. So yeah, thank you for watching the guide. If you're still here, I highly appreciate you. If you got any comments about Riki, you got any suggestions that you might want me to do, I can talk about a lot of things when it comes to Dota. I play a lot of different heroes, but definitely Riki, Visage, Naga, and Arc Warden are my mains. I'm very highly micro-orientated, and I just like a highly aggro playstyle. So maybe if you want to see videos about how to create tempo, what is tempo, and stuff like that, yeah, leave it down. Thanks again. I'll drop my Twitch. I will maybe stream on that sometime. Maybe. Personally gets pretty I deal with some pretty toxic games on C, so it's not really the funnest of times, but it is what it is. And I also might be doing a really big video, kind of like an IRL. I've only ever gotten to 8k MMR, and I've always fluctuated, and I gain like 2k MMR in a month, and I'm thinking maybe I'm just going to see how far I can go. It's kind of like a last hurrah for my ranked on Dota, with Riki only, of course, with Riki, a massive Riki arc. Again, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, leave comments. More than happy to ask questions. Love you all. Have a good one.
Wait.
Your bottom tower's in a tight spot.
Where the fuck did I go? What?